Let God be in control. Step aside. Let him be in control. Let him do what he does. And you'd be surprised what he can do in your life. You know, some people around New Year's, they'll make the resolutions and they'll come up with a word for the year. Whatever that is, grace, joy, persevere, whatever the word is. They'll come up with a word that they'll hang on to for the year. We don't really subscribe to that, but we're 6 months into the year, and we are realizing that we should have made a word. We should have come up with a word for the year, and that word should have been control. In that, we aren't in control. Let me explain. I wasn't going to make a video like this. I know that I've talked about this with people, and I enjoy talking about it with people, but I wasn't going to make a video and post it on the page. But we were in church on Sunday, and one of the elders in there was talking about, he saw somewhere that there's one thing that the devil doesn't want us to do as Christians. And he went down the list. Is it go to church? No, he'll drive you to church. Is it to tithe? No, he'll come up with the funds so you can tithe. Went down all this list, and the one thing that he said the devil doesn't want us doing is spreading the word. And that resonated with me and struck a chord in my heart to where I was holding this in, not wanting to share it in this fashion on this platform. But him saying that just touched me in a way that I knew I had to share it. Back in April, Laurie lost her job. She got laid off. And this isn't this isn't a video, a woe is me video, or have pity for us, or we need help video. This isn't one of those videos. We'll be all right. We know we'll be all right. When she found out that she got laid off, it was a shock. It hurt in a lot of ways. But one thing that we haven't done since she got laid off in April is we haven't necessarily panicked. We're a dual income family. We need to be a dual income family in order to make everything work. And so having that income taken away really hurts in a lot of ways. But yet we didn't panic. We didn't go out and search the classifieds, do the Indeed stuff, whatever they're doing for job searching now. We didn't immediately go in there. We didn't do postings, hey, who's hiring? We didn't do any of that because we knew we weren't in control, and we knew that it was all part of the plan, and we knew that it would work out how it's supposed to work out, and we would be taken care of. And so that happened in April, and we were talking about, we were trying to see, she was doing this baking thing for the farm, and that was really just supplementing the two incomes, just bringing a little bit more in, gave her something to do. It was a hobby. We provided goods to the community that seems like they want. And so that was more just a hobby type thing, and weren't too serious about that. And so after she got laid off, we started leaning heavily into that baking side of the house and seeing if we could make that work and possibly fill that gap. Wouldn't fill the gap completely of what she was bringing in during the month, but at least would be something. And so we leaned heavily into that and talked about making it a full-time thing in one way or another. But we wanted to test it out. One of those tests was to go to the farmers markets. We had talked about going to the farmers markets since last year, and we made a post last year that we will be at the farmers markets this year. Now that was to sell fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables, and that hasn't come to fruition, pardon the pun. But we knew that we could sell the baked goods at farmers markets as well. So first time we did the farmers markets this month, June 6th, that was going to be our test to see how this baking thing, if we can go a little bit bigger with the baking thing. It's a lot of work to get ready for the market, as you can imagine. All the baking, all the planning. You got to do a lot of what we call in the military backwards planning. Okay, you know that the farmer's market's on this date. I need to get stuff done, by this time, especially with sourdough, because you got to plan that out. That's not just hey, I want to make bread, I get bread tonight. So there's a lot of planning involved. And as we're going through that week, we're paying attention to the weather, and the weather wasn't looking great. it was going to be Saturday. It was supposed to be rainy. That didn't really affect us. That didn't really worry us. And we kept going through the week. We kept preparing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And so we went to bed Friday night knowing that the forecast was for rain in the morning. But yet we weren't worried. We were going to do it anyways. Also, let me rewind a little bit. So leading up to that farmer's market, we had an idea planted on our hearts and on our heads of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to make this baking thing a little bit bigger. And we'd have these independent people make comments to us in one shape or another. But they were all leading us down that path and validating our thoughts of the direction that we were to take. And so we knew we were going in the right direction because you had these different people just making these comments. This is where it gets interesting. Saturday morning, I wake up first. And the farmer's market starts at 8, so I got up at, I think, 4:30 that morning. And it was raining, it was sprinkling, you could hear it on the roof. But it wasn't nothing crazy. It was just a sprinkle pretty much, but enough that you could hear it. So she ended up waking up about 5 o'clock. She comes in the kitchen. I pour her a cup of coffee. I hand it to her. She looks at me with this worried look, like, is this really going to happen? Are we making the right decision? And I told her, I said, this is a test. God is testing us to see how deep our faith is. Because we say that He will provide for us. We say that He will take care of us. And this is one of the ways that we were looking for Him to take care of us. But this is a test. We're going to move forward with this. We're going to go. We're going to pack up. We're going to go. Whatever's going to be is going to be. But we're going to do this. He is testing us. Literally, right after I said He's testing us, that sprinkle turned into a torrential downpour. The heavens opened up. The rain came down. The water came down. You couldn't even hear yourself think because it was raining so hard on the roof. And all I did was smile because it was a test. And I knew it was a test. It would have been easy for us to call it quits and say, you know what, we tried, we made it this far, we at least got the prep done, so next time we'll know a little bit better, we'll have that practice. We'll call it a day. Nobody's going to show up. No other vendors are going to be there. Let's just not go. It would have been easy for us to do that. But we didn't because we had faith. And we knew it was a test. And we had to show that we were committed to Him and had faith in Him enough that we would move forward in adverse conditions and bad conditions. And so we packed up in the rain, loaded everything up in the truck in the rain. We pull out of our farm, get on the road, it's still raining. We get on the highway and start heading south because Kingfisher's south of us. We start heading south. And we see blue sky over Kingfisher. No other blue sky anywhere else to the east, the west, the north, but there was blue sky over Kingfisher. And we kept driving south, and it kept getting blue, and it kept clearing up. And when we got into Kingfisher, the rain had stopped. We set up our tent, set up the table, set up everything. It wasn't raining. We were the first ones there. There were a couple others that showed up after we got there. But we ended up almost selling out that day. I think we went there with 52 items. And I think we sold something like 48, 49. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you go from waking up and thinking that something's not going to happen, and you just have faith that it'll work out because he'll make it work out. And we ended up almost selling out. We can't make that stuff up. We can't. After that first farmers markets, we've attended our second farmers market, and same thing, almost sold out. I can't remember how many items we went with that one. I think it was something like 60 items. I think we sold 53, maybe 54. So again, almost sold out of that farmer's market. Since that first farmer's market, there has been numerous opportunities that have come up that help support us and fill that gap that was lost back in April. things that we never really even thought about 2-3 months ago. But opportunities have presented themselves to where we see that God is working, and we see that God is providing, and we see that He will take care of us. But we got to do our part, and we got to have faith. It's easy to have faith. Laurie and I were talking about this the other night. I saw it on somebody's, on some video. It might have been on The Chosen. And she saw it somewhere else too, to where it's easy to have faith when things are going well. It's when life gets hard that it's hard to have that same faith. Because when it seems like He's knocking you down, that's easy to lose faith. Because why would He do that? But we need to make sure that we keep up the faith no matter what. And so that's exactly what happened, in my opinion. I'm not a Bible expert. I'm not a religion expert. I don't claim to be. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But I do know that that was a test. That first farmer's market. He was testing our faith. He had told us up until that moment that He will take care of us, and He will be there for us, and He has a plan for us. But He was testing us to see how far we were willing to go with it and how committed we were to Him. And since then, opportunities have come up that weren't available before. Are they related? I think so. I can't help but think so. So I started off the video talking about control, and we're not in control. He's in control. And I know for us personally, this year we have acknowledged that we are not in control, and we know that He is in control. And we are giving ourselves to Him, and we are basically just riding the wave. You know, there's so many times that in the last couple months that something will happen. Somebody will say something, some things will come up, good things that will come up, things that we never even thought of. And we'll look at each other and we'll be like, what's going on? What is this? Why is this happening? What is this? This doesn't happen to us. Why is this happening? What is this? And I remind us now that whenever that question pops into our head of, you know, what is going on? What is happening? All these good things are happening. What is this? And I remind us, and I say it out loud, that this is God. God is doing this. This is God. That's what this is. And it's a special feeling whenever you get to feel it. I don't think I've ever felt that feeling, or even that feeling right now as I'm talking about it. I don't think I've ever felt that feeling, just that warmth and that embrace that you feel. But that's exactly what we feel in those moments. It's God. I don't know necessarily what the message is with this video. I guess it's more of a testimony that I wasn't going to share until church. And he mentioned that, you know, we don't want to, devil doesn't want us to spread the word and share the word. Let God be in control. Step aside. Let Him be in control. Let Him do what He does. And you'd be surprised what He can do in your life. Thanks for watching. As always, stay rooted.